What's up, Dot Family? This is Ryan Craig, occupational health trainer out of Burley, Idaho, back for my third and final video of my yoga series. We're going to finish off today with some nice light stretching, cooling it down, leading into some very nice relaxation slash meditation here. All right, so we're just going to pick up right where we left off. We're going to be standing in prayer pose, so feet together, palms together in front of the chest. We're going to take a nice deep breath in, arch up with the arms, look up with the head, inhale through the nose, and exhale that all the way down into another standing forward bend again. Hang down for a couple deep breaths through the nose here. Excellent. Go ahead and get the hands flat, bend the knees if you have to, jump or step the feet back. Into plank pose for a little bit here. Not very long. We're going to transition right into what's called Pigeon Pose. So this is going to be a nice deep stretch on the outside of the hip area. So what we're going to start on the left leg. So what we're going to do is just slightly raise that left leg up in the air from plank position here. And we're going to swing it up, kind of bringing the lower half of the leg across the mat. It doesn't have to be perfectly perpendicular to the mat. So you can keep that knee nice and flexed. And then the easiest version of this pose is just going to be keeping the hands flat on the ground in front of you, or on the mat in front of you. And then just hanging out here. Now, if you feel like you're starting to loosen up and you want to add a little bit of intensity to the stretch on the outside of the hip, what you're going to do is slowly come down to the elbows and forearms, which should sink that stretch a little bit deeper into the hip. Again, just really breathing. If you do all these videos back to back, at this point you should be breathing a little bit heavy. If you've done yoga before, you're probably used to it. If not, it is pretty challenging. So just hanging out down here, getting a nice deep stretch through that hip. Trying to not get settled in too long into one position, so trying to continue challenging yourself to sink the stretch deeper and deeper. So right now I'm on my elbows and forearms still. So if I want to kick it up another notch, what I can do is come all the way down to my chest. Arms down on the ground, face all the way down to the ground as well. Just kind of hanging down over that leg. Nice deep stretch on my left glute hip area here. Feels really good. Very good. So generally I'll spend about 3 to 4 minutes on each side here in Pigeon Pose, just because it's such a great way to open up the hips. But just for sake of time, we won't spend that much time in this pose today. So we'll shorten it up to about 90 seconds, 2 minutes or so. Sometimes I spend even longer, depending on how my hips are feeling, how my body is feeling. Just really listen to your body. You don't have to be super strict on the timing. Even in the context of these videos, you can prolong the holds of the poses if you want to. You can shorten them if you want to. However, you need to modify it according to your ability level, your flexibility level, fitness level. Very good. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to push ourselves back up to our hands. And then from there, we're going to slide that left foot back into plank position here. Take a couple breaths before we lift that right leg up. Good, raise that right leg up in the air. Swing it up to the hand. Again, the lower leg kind of across the mat. Doesn't have to be perfectly perpendicular to the mat. Again, when you're ready, you can either stay posted up on the hands for a less intense stretch, or if you want to add intensity, come down to the elbows and forearms. Again, we're just going to focus on that breathing. I love doing this pose towards the end of a yoga session because it really allows you to just kind of calm that breathing down, slow down the heart rate, focus on that diaphragmatic breathing. So trying to breathe with the diaphragm, or they also call that belly breathing. So when you inhale, you want to push the belly button out. When you exhale, you want to draw the belly button in towards the spine. So you're kind of using your deep abdominal wall, your transverse abdominis to draw that belly button in. You're using your diaphragm when you push your belly button out. So that diaphragm is really a muscle you want to try and get in tune with, because that should be our main breathing muscle. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, it's not. A lot of people tend to use their chest muscles to breathe, like their intercostals and other muscles around the neck to breathe, and that can really cause a lot of problems with posture and what's called upper cross syndrome, causing tightness in the chest and shortening of the muscles and on the anterior aspect of the body, and lengthening of the muscles on the posterior side of the body, which could be upper back muscles getting weak and long, and chest muscles and anterior or front of the neck muscles getting short and tight. And that causes a lot of issues with posture and neck kinks and all kinds of stuff. So really trying to just focus on that belly breathing can have a dramatic effect on not just your breathing, but also your posture. And then it also kind of keeps you consciously breathing instead of unconsciously breathing. So it keeps you focused on where your breath's coming from and consciously moving it from the diaphragm. Very good. Enough of me talking. We're going to post back up onto the hands. Slide that right leg back. Excellent job. Back into plank position here. All right. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to just drop the knees down. We're going to turn sideways 90 degrees onto the mat. So we can bring the knees nice and wide. So nice wide knees. Want to keep the feet inside the knees, so we don't want the feet wide, just the knees. And then from there, we're going to drop down to the elbows and forearms. Down into what's called frog pose. So we're kind of stretching the inside of the thighs now. So we hit the outer hip, opened up the outer hip. Now we're going to hit the inside. So what we're going to do once we get onto the elbows and forearms is just slowly push back, sinking deeper into the stretch, feeling it into the groin. Now if you're really flexible in the groin area, you can just bring the knees a little bit wider and then push back again. That may help increase the stretch for you a little bit. If you still can't feel the stretch, then your groins just don't need to be stretched. Good for you. Most people, I have a feeling, are going to have tightness in this area. I love this stretch again at the end of yoga session, because again, this stretch you can really focus on that diaphragmatic breathing. Puts you in a really good position to be able to utilize that diaphragm to breathe. You can really feel that belly button draw up towards the spine when you exhale. I like to use a 3-second inhale. So a 3-1000 inhale followed by a 6-1000 exhale. And then try to keep your breath continuously moving, so no gaps in between your inhale and your exhale. Almost kind of like a Ferris wheel. It just keeps going. So your inhale would be as your Ferris wheel cart goes up. Your exhale would be as the Ferris wheel cart goes down. It just never stops at the top or the bottom. But the breath is more of an ellipsis than a perfect circle, I guess. So an ellipsis is kind of like a warped circle or like a flattened out circle, if you think about it that way. That's more of what the breathing is patterned after. And the counting of the inhale and the exhale serves a couple purposes. One, it just helps keep you conscious of your breathing, focused on your inhales and exhales. Two, they say that it actually increases the amount of oxygen in the blood, which is another cool way to just relax and get that oxygen saturation back up. Very good. Now to get out of this pose, what I like to do is just kind of bring all of my weight forward onto my arms and then just slowly lift one knee up at a time. Then from that pose, what we're going to do is just flip right over onto our backs into most people's favorite yoga pose, which is called corpse pose. Seems a little dark, but it's just because you're laying flat on your back with your palms turned up, your eyes closed. So what we're doing here is just settling in on our backs. We want our hands at our hips, at the sides of our hips with the palms turned up in a receptive gesture. Eyes are closed very softly. Really relaxing the jaw, not clenching the teeth. You want your lips slightly parted. That breath is still lightly moving through the nose for now. And we're going to start our relaxation by taking a long, slow, deep breath all the way to the top of the lungs. And once you get up there, you can slowly release that with a sigh. Just sighing out that breath. Really trying to eliminate any thoughts of the past or the future. There's quite a few ancient yogi practitioners, or yogis, or what they call them, who believe that focusing on the past is a major source of depression. And conversely, focusing on the future is a major source of anxiety. And many of these yogis teach, to the extent that you can focus on the present moment and make the best of the present situation that you're placed in, is to the extent where you'll be happy. So really trying to push out any thoughts of the past right now, not focusing on what happened last week, what happened yesterday, not focusing on what happened this morning, not focused on what we're having for dinner tonight, not worrying about tomorrow or what we're going to do on the weekend. Just really focusing on the present moment right now. Because if you really think about it, that's all we have is the present moment. The past is gone. We can't change it. All we can do is learn from it. It does us no good to dwell on the past. Only learn from it and move on. Also, not worrying about the future. As long as we make the best decisions we can in this moment, everything should fall into place nicely for us. Meditation isn't always about pushing all the thoughts out of your mind, nor is it always about repeating a certain mantra to yourself, like You'll see that stereotype a lot in movies and TV shows. Really, what it's about is just focusing on the present moment and just being present in the moment that you're in your mind, not being locked into the past or stuck in the future. So one of the things that I like to do to keep myself present, one of the strategies I like to use is taking an inventory throughout my body while I'm relaxing. So kind of starting at the feet and the bottom of the feet and the toes. Just making sure all the muscles are soft and relaxed around the feet and the ankles. Working our way up into the calves and the front of the shins. Just relaxing those muscles, keeping them soft. Up over the knee, back of the knee, front of the knee. The quads and the hamstrings, the inner thighs. Any muscles around the knee, just see if you can relax and just let them be soft. Moving up through the thighs and the hips, the glutes, the hip flexors, just relaxed and soft. Into the core area, the abdominals, the lower back, the obliques, the solar plexus, nice and soft and relaxed. Just kind of letting the breath happen naturally here. We don't have to be hyper focused on the breathing right now. Into the chest, any muscles in the chest that are tight and contracted, just let them go. The mid back, the upper back, muscles around the shoulders, into the neck area, soft and relaxed. Moving up into the upper neck, the front of the neck, into the jaw area. Just really making sure those muscles are nice and soft, not clenching the jaw. Those little intrinsic muscles in the face around the cheeks and the eyes and the nose. Just let those muscles go. You should feel those eyeballs really just fall back into the eye sockets. Feel that relaxation melt up into the forehead, Feel that forehead smooth out all the way into the scalp, around the head. Nice, soft, relaxed muscles. So just continue to relax. Try and stay present in this moment. Very good. Now, with the eyes still closed, slowly roll onto either your left or your right side into kind of like a side lying position here. Staying relaxed, trying to keep the mind quiet. Start to bring your focus back into the breathing again through the nose. 3-second inhale, 6-second exhale. No pause between breaths. Very good. Now from there, you can, again with the eyes still closed, slowly push up into a sitting position. Again, this can be any position that's comfortable for you. I prefer to sit with my legs crossed, but of course you don't have to do that. Legs can be straight. You can even stay side lying if you really want to. You don't necessarily have to push up into a seated position. But for some reason, my energy and my spirituality tells me to finish my session in this seated position. Just feels more natural for me. This is how I've been ending my yoga sessions for years now. Now, traditionally, how most yoga sessions are ended, you're going to bring the palms together in front of the chest into prayer pose. And we say, Namaste. Namaste. Now, from the research I could gather, Namaste simply means to go in peace, or thank you, go in peace, or have a peaceful day or peaceful life, depending on who translate it. So it's an ancient Sanskrit word that just, depending on who translates, has some basic meaning of go in peace. So thank you, everybody. If you followed along for all three of these videos, my main logic behind wanting to do yoga videos is yoga has been scientifically proven to lower cortisol levels in the body. Cortisol is the main stress hormone that the body creates when we're under stress. It doesn't have to be physical stress. It can be physical stress, mental stress. Could be coming from work. It could be coming from financial issues, whatever it may be. Just from our lives being disrupted and so many people being in different situations and not necessarily good situations. My line of thought was a lot of people could be having increased levels of cortisol. Now, increased levels of cortisol is also correlated with the lower immune system. Right now, we need all the immunity we can get. So that was my main logic behind wanting to do a yoga series of videos when they came to me and pitched doing some physical activity videos. This is the first thing I thought of. So I hope you guys have gained some benefits from doing these 3 videos, and watch out for the next few videos I'm going to release are going to be for anybody who has had a history of back pain or a back injury, whether they've been diagnosed with an injury or they've just had lingering back pain for years or months or weeks. Um, if you do a lot of physical labor at home, as far as gardening, or if you do a lot of home projects, and you've gotten some back pain in the past, these next few videos are going to be great for you. They're based off of the McGill Big Three, which is Dr. Stuart McGill developed 3 really basic core exercises to help stabilize the spine and heal the discs in between the vertebrae in our backs. And that's what the next 2 or 3 videos I'm going to release are going to be based off of the McGill Big Three. So I look forward to putting those out. I really hope everybody out there is doing well. Thank you again for tuning in and watching these videos. To anybody who may be on quarantine, or anybody who took the voluntary furlough, we really thank you for helping out the company in this time of need. Um, we are a family here at DOT, and I really feel that through our leadership and everybody who's really been pulling together to make the company pull through this, and I know we'll get through it. So thank you to everybody out there again. I'll see you in the next video.